Welcome students, welcome to my channel Academia Mentor. I usually prepare videos related to critical approach, paraphrasing of stories, poems, and basically related to the literature portion. But today I have come here with a special lesson which is based on grammar portion. But as we know, learning grammar is really very difficult. You know why? Because if it is to be learned in a traditional way, we have to face a lot of problems. And in the next slide, I'm going to present the problems and the difficulties which we have to face while learning the grammar in a traditional way. Look, what kind of problems occurs? At first, we have to read innumerable rules related to different segments of grammar, such as like from the beginning to the end. If we try to learn article, we have to remember rule. If we try to learn tense, voice, narration, gerund, anything else from grammar, we have to remember rules. We have to read all these rules. At the same time, we have to remember also all these rules. So reading and remembering all these rules, mixed up with all these rules. Sometimes, all these rules mixed up in our mind, and we cannot recognize which kind of rules must be implied in which kind of places. So it becomes difficult for students. And another thing is that we have to practice it again and again, otherwise we may forget all these rules. Look at here. Unfortunately, forgetting of rules. Really, if you read the rules again and again, suppose that if you will practice again and again, so there might be chance to remember all these rules. But if you leave the practice for 15 days, for 20 days, for 1 month, what happens in January? You will forget all these rules easily. And apart from that, if you will read the rules, suppose that if you try to cover up the 3-4 segments of grammar, reading the rules of different segments, what will happen to you? uh, all these rules will be mixed up, and it's really difficult for you to remember which portion or which rules must be implied in which segment. So it's really difficult to remember, and it's really difficult to learn the grammar in a particular way. This is the traditional way of learning grammar. Still we have to learn, still the process is going on. But another process, exceptional process, is also there, which through we can learn grammar. So let's see which is the process. Exceptional process of grammar. Here it is. Learn from stories. At first, one story will be there, and the story will be based on a particular tense. If you try to understand tense better, you have to read the story from word to word. Okay, and you have to understand the grammatical portions or the grammatical aspects which are implied in the uh, lines. We have to understand all the things. Now, second, two-in-one benefits. So, at first you will learn the story first of all. Then another thing, first benefit is there. Second benefit is there, comprehension, learning of comprehension. That means if you will read the story, there will be a lot of questions. So you can give questions, or you can write the answer of all these questions. So comprehension practice will be done. At the same time, you will learn grammar from the story. So two-in-one benefit is there. Third one, learning grammar play with different games. Another big benefit is there. If you create games out of these stories, it will be really funny for you. It will not make you boring. Rather, it will be a kind of joyful matter to go through the story and to have different kinds of games. I will show you how the games will be played after reading the stories. Fourth one, no need to remember roles, only students need to absorb the story with critical reading of each word. First and foremost, thing which is required, to learn the grammar in exceptional method, this is nothing but you have to read the story word by word. You have to absorb the whole story. from the grammatical point of view, from the comprehensive point of view. And in this way you will be able to learn the grammar no very easily. At the same time it will be there in your mind for a long time. So let's begin. Today we will learn about past perfect continuous tense. How it is to be learned. Past perfect continuous tense, we know it very well. The rules. What is the traditional way? We at first we have to remember the rules. That what is the rule? We know it very well. At first to subject, and then auxiliary verb in the place of auxiliary verb. What we need to put? We need to put was or were, and then we need to put verb ing form, and then object and complement. This is the basic traditional method of learning perfect continuous tense. So remembering all these rules. So this is not only the single rule which is there in English grammar for tense, but lot of rules are there. So if you will remember all these rules after a certain time, all these rules will be mixed up, and you will not be able to recognize all these rules. Okay, so through a story, we will try to understand what why it is past perfect tense and how it is implied in the story. Okay, now let's begin the story. Donald and Elizabeth had been driving to church before they had stopped. Look at here. Donald and Elizabeth had been driving to church before they stopped. Here, two subjects are there, Donald and Elizabeth. Had been driving. Look, had been. This is what? This is the auxiliary verb which are given over here. And driving. This is the verb ing form. And these are the complements. So in this way, it is quite easy for us to remember. So what Donald and Elizabeth was doing, they had been driving to church before they stopped. So before stopping, they had been driving towards the church. Look, this is in past perfect continuous tense. Now move to the next sentence. They had been driving down a dirt road when they heard a strange noise. Look, in the next sentence, same thing has been given here. They had been driving. Once again, they is also they is obviously pronoun, but here it is used as subject. Pronoun, it is obviously pronoun, but it is used as subject. And after the subject, what is over here? Had been is used as what? Auxiliary verb. Driving is nothing but verb ing form, and rest of the what? Object and complement. So when they were driving towards the church through a dirty road, what they heard? They heard a strange noise. Strange noise. They heard a strange noise. Now, in this way, two things are going on. First of all, grammar learning is going on. At the same time, we are understanding the story also. That means the comprehensive learning is also going on. Now, move to the third sentence. Donald stopped the car. Instantly, what happened? Donald stopped the car. Here, third sentence, it is not in past perfect continuous tense. Rather, it is in simple past tense. Okay, because subject is there and then stopped, which is in V2 form, and then the car, which is object. So, what is the rule? We know that subject, then V2, and then object. If this sort of rule is there, then it will be known as past simple. So, third sentence is in simple past tense. Okay. So, in this way, we will learn. Now, fourth sentence. He got out of the car. 1 second. Fourth sentence is in simple past tense because here no use of verb ing form or auxiliary verbs are there. Only subject is there, V2 form is there, and object and complements are there. So that's why fourth sentence is also in simple past form. Okay. So third and fourth sentence, these two sentences are in simple past form. Now already we understood the grammatical aspects. Now move to the story. What is going to happen? when they had been driving towards the church, what is going to happen? A strange noise they heard, and instantly Donald stopped the car, and then they got out from the car. So, in this way, we learned till now from the story. We learned story. Then he helped Elizabeth out of the car. Then he helped Elizabeth out of the car. So, one second, fifth sentence is also in simple past form. Simple past form, because look at here, he is used as subject, help is used as P2 form, and Elizabeth is none but the object, and out of the car, that is complement. So, fifth sentence is in simple past form. Now, this from the point of view story, what happened when Donald got out from the car? What happened? He helped Elizabeth also to come out from the car. Elizabeth sat and waited for Donald. Now, what happened? After that, this sentence is also in simple past form, because no use of verb ing form, or no use of auxiliary verbs are there. That's why it is in simple past form. Look at the formation. Elizabeth is the subject. Sat is B2 form. Okay, and once again, another verb is here, waited, that is also B2 form, and for Donald, that is complement. So we may say this sentence is also in simple past form. Now, from the point of view of story, what happens when both of them come out from the car or got out from the car? What happened? Elizabeth sat on the ground and she started waiting for Donald. That means Donald had gone somewhere. Now, Donald looked at the car. Now, what? Donald started looking at the car. That means something has happened to the car. Okay. What kind of strange noise they heard? Strange noise is there in the car. That's why Donald started looking at the car. Now, that's why this is also in simple past form, because Donald is the subject, looked is the B2 form, and at the car, that is the complement. So we may say this is also in simple past form. Okay. So now, from the point of view of story, Donald started looking at the car. What happens to the car? It had been going for an hour so. It had been going. Now, look at here. This sentence is in past perfect continuous tense, because it is the subject, had been is the auxiliary verb, and going is the verb ing form. For an hour so, that is nothing but complement. Okay. So, look at here. According to the leave the rules, leave the case of rules. It had been going on for an hour. So, Donald and Elizabeth, both of them were there beside the car for an hour so, looking what happened to the car. Okay. Now, move to the next sentence. He knew how to fix car. So, Donald is quite able to fix the car. Okay, this is the point of view of story. Now, he knew how to fix the car. This is in simple past form. How? Because he is the subject, knew is the V2 form, and how to fix the car, that is nothing but complement. So, in this way, we can understand the grammatical aspect, at the same time the point of view of story. Now, move to the next sentence. He had been working as a mechanic for 5 years uh, before he moved to the country. Now, this complete sentence is also in past perfect continuous tense, because look at here, time sense is given over here, and another thing is that he is the subject, had been is the auxiliary verb, and working is the verb ing form, and rest of the things are what? That is nothing but complement, and time sense is given over here. So, we may say this is in past perfect continuous tense. Okay. Now, from the point of view of story. So, Donald had been working as a mechanic for 5 years in the country, that means in his village. So, he had the experience to repair the car. Now, move to the next sentence. Donald got his tools. Then what happens? After waiting for 1 hour, Donald took out the tools. Tools means the things which through he can repair the car. That's why he took out the tools from the car. Now, this is in simple past tense, because no auxiliary verb is there, no verb ing form is there, and no time sense is there. Okay, because Donald is the subject, got is the V2 form, and his tools is the object. So we may say this is in simple past tense. Now, he looked under the hood. One second, this sentence is in also simple past tense because no use of verb ing and auxiliary verb is there. So what happened? Uh, he took out the tools and then he started looking the hood. Hood means the upper portion of the car. It seemed that the engine had been heating up. Look, this sentence is in past perfect continuous tense. Why? Because look at here, that the engine had been heating up. The engine, this is supposed to be the subject, and had been, this is the auxiliary verb. Heating up, this is what verb ing form. So not only the what we say, not only the past perfect continuous tense had been used, but also simple past tense is also used in this paragraph or in this story to maintain or to move towards the to move forward in the story. Now, so what happened? What he thought that the engine of the car might getting up very heat, and that's why it stopped for a moment. He crawled under the car, and this happens. We know it very well. If you have experienced, if you have seen any mechanic while repairing the car, they usually crawl under the car and they repair the car. Okay, so he also had done same kind of thing. He crawled under the car and started repairing the car. But now the from grammatical point of view, he crawled. He is the subject. Crawled is the verb V2 form. So we may say this is in simple past tense. Look, next paragraph. Donald had been walking on the car for a while when Jack parked beside him. Donald had been walking. Donald is the subject, had been is the auxiliary verb, walking is the verb ing form. Okay, we understood all these things earlier that if the subject is there, auxiliary verb is there, and verb ing form is there, so it's quite easy to understand that it is in past perfect continuous tense. So this tense is in also sorry this sentence is in also in past perfect continuous tense. So what happened? Now the from the point of view of story. So he started working, that means he started repairing the car for a lot of time, and then he parked beside, sorry, while Donald had been working on the car for a while when Jack parked beside him. And at the same time, what happened? Another person is there. Another person has come and he also parked his car beside the car of Donald. Now move to the next sentence. Jack had been driving home when he saw Donald and Elizabeth on the side of the road. Now, this sentence is in also past perfect continuous tense. Okay, Jack is the subject, had been auxiliary verb, driving is the verb ing form, and rest of the things is what and also simple past tense is also used here. He saw Donald and Elizabeth. So he is the subject and saw is the V2 form. So we may say in a sentence we may use past perfect continuous tense. At the same time we may use simple past tense. It depends upon your creation. Okay, so when Jack had, now from the point of view of story, when Jack had seen, that means the last character who had come there, when Jack had seen or that Donald and Elizabeth were in trouble, what happened? He came towards them. Now Jack helped Donald to fix the car. So this sentence is in simple past form because help is the V2 form and no auxiliary verb and verb ing form is there. So that's why we may say it is in simple past form. Jack helped Donald to fix the car. So now from the point of view of story. Anyway, I told you earlier that Jack had come there to help him to fix the car or to repair the car. Now move to the next sentence. Donald thanked Jack for his help. Elizabeth waved to Jack as they drove away. Thanks to Jack's help, they arrived at church on time. So in last two or three sentences, there are nothing but simple past tense. That means the subject is there, be2 form is there, object is there, and complements are there. So at last, from the point of view of story is what? Jack helped him anyway, that means to repair the car. Jack helped him, and then both three of them drove away from the place. Okay. Now this is the story. So at last we may say we understood the story about Donald, Elizabeth and Jack. At the same time, we understood the grammatical aspects of the story. Okay. Now this is the exercise. This is the exercise, and why the exercise is given over here? For comprehensive learning. How much we learned from the story, it will be examined through these questions. Okay. Where had Donald and Elizabeth been driving before the car stopped? So where they had been driving, we know it very well. Donald and Elizabeth had been driving towards the church. This is the answer. Now, next, how long had the car been going before it stopped? How long had Donald been working as a mechanic before he moved to the country? So now, how long the car had been going before it stopped? How long it had gone? It had gone approximately 1 hour. Is it or not? And next question, how long had Donald been working as a mechanic before he moved to the country? Before moving to the country, how long he used to work as a mechanic? I told you earlier, he used to work as a mechanic for 5 years. Is it not? So comprehensive learning is also going on at the same time. Grammatical aspects are also going on. Okay. Now move to the third story. Where had Jack been driving when he saw Donald and Elizabeth? Now this is the thing. Where had Jack been driving? So last character Jack is there. Where he was going when he saw both these two characters. Look at here, you can understand. While when Jack parked beside him, okay, Jack had been driving home. Okay, so where Jack was going? Jack had been driving towards home when he had seen Donald and Elizabeth on the road, and they were in problem. Okay. Now, so the comprehensive learning is done. Now move to the grammatical exercises. How to make negative and interrogative questions. Look at here, one example is given over here. Jill had been cleaning before you arrived. Following this sentence, following this structure, following this tense, we have to change into negative. We have to change into WH question. That means interrogative. Now, Jill had been cleaning before you arrived. Look at here. Negative. Jill had not. Look at here. What happened? Jill is the subject, had is the auxiliary verb. Okay, so after the auxiliary verb, what is done? Not is used. So this is the basic formation. Okay, after the auxiliary verb, we must put not to make it negative. Okay, so Jill had not been cleaning before you arrived, and rest of the things are same. No need to change anything. Okay, now yes no question. That means if this sort of questions will be asked, only one question will be there. Oh, sorry, only one answer will be there, yes or no. And in this case, if you are told to create yes no questions, what is needed to do? You need to put the auxiliary verb at first and then the subject. Look, what is the auxiliary verb over here? Had is the auxiliary verb. Look, had is the auxiliary verb over here. So you have to put this auxiliary verb here at first, and then you have to put the subject over here, and then the auxiliary main verb, that means the verb ing form must be even over here, and rest of the things must be same. Okay, so it's quite easy for you to understand. Okay, now move to the WH questions. So three kinds of things are given over here: negative learning, WH question learning, and yes no question learning. And in the case of WH question learning, what is needed? Jill had been cleaning before you arrived. No, it's quite easy. You can use the WH words like who, what, when, where, and through these words you can create the question. Okay, who had been cleaning before you arrived? Who had been cleaning? Jill had been cleaning. So this is quite easy. Creation of WH question, this is quite easy for you, but creation of yes no question, that is little bit difficult if the auxiliary verb is not there. Okay, in the next video I will show you how to create interrogative question in the absence of any kind of auxiliary verb. Okay, now move to the exercises. We will do all these things, then it will be better for us to understand. Okay, Donald and Elizabeth had been driving to church before they stopped. Make it into negative. What it will be? What it will be in negative form? Donald and Elizabeth had not been. So what must be used over here to make negative? Here we have to put not. We have to put not to make it negative. So that will be negative. So Donald and Elizabeth had not been driving to church before they stopped. That will be in negative form. Now move to the yes no question. Yes no question. So already we have got the auxiliary verb over here. Had is there. So what is necessary to put? At first we have to put the auxiliary verb over here at first. And then we have to put what? The subjects. Two subjects are over there. Okay, here. So what it will be? Had Donald Elizabeth, and then the rest of the things must be added over here. Okay. Rest of the things must be added over here. So at first we have to put had, and then we have to put the subjects over here, and then the rest of the things must be put here to create the yes no question. And now move to the third thing, that is what? Creation of WH question. Donald and Elizabeth had been driving to the church before they stopped. So if you use who, it is easy to create the WH question. Who had been driving to church before they stopped? Easily we will get the answer Donald and Elizabeth. So in this way we can create negative yes no questions and WH questions. A lot of questions are there. In this way you can do. He had been working as a mechanic for 5 years. Negative, it is quite easy for you. You can do it. He had not. So let's see. To create the negative, what is necessary? Here you need to put the not. Okay. It will be negative form. He had not been working as a mechanic for 5 years. Okay. Now, yes no questions. How it will be created? Already I told you what is there. Had is there, that means the auxiliary verb is there. So no need to bring anything from anywhere. So had, you must bring had at first, and then you have to bring the subject over here, and then the rest of the things must be given over here. So had he been working as a mechanic for 5 years, then question mark. Now move to the third question, WH question. That is quite easy. Who had been, use the word who, and it will be easy to create the WH question. Who had been working as a mechanic? Instead of he, we have to use what? Who. Here we have to write who, and then the rest of the things. It will be easy to create the WH question. Okay. Now move to the third question. The engine had been heating up. Negative. How it will be done? The engine had not been heating up. Where you need to put the not? After the auxiliary verb. So what is the auxiliary verb over here? Had is the. So what is necessary? You have to put the not over here. So it will easily be turned into negative. So the engine had not been heating up. It will be the negative form. Okay. Next yes no question. Yes no question. How? At first what is necessary? Had must be brought here at first, and then the subject must be brought here, and then the rest of the things must be brought here. Okay. So what would be the form? Had the engine been heating up? Okay. This will be the yes no question. And WH question is quite easy for you. Why it is easy? Because you have to put who, which, okay, what, where, all these things at the beginning, and it will be turned into WH question. So the engine had been heating up. What you will do? Who had been heating up? Is it right? In the sense, somehow it is right. Somehow it is right that who had been heating up? The engine had been heating up. Or why the engine had been heating up? that must not be given because answer is not there. Who had been eating up, that is the sufficient thing what you can do. Okay. So I think you understood all these things, the grammatical aspects, how to be learned. At the same time, the comprehensive learning is also done through the story. I hope you learned a lot. Thank you for staying with me.